Hey guys, it's Dirt Dauber NC here, and today I've got a review of the Komatsu PC138USLC-11 by First Gear in 1/50th scale. This model was announced earlier this year and has been highly anticipated by myself and many other collectors, and is actually one of the few models I've actually ever pre-ordered. I'm really glad I pre-ordered it, and I'm hoping this video will help you guys make the decision whether or not to purchase this model yourselves or not. I'll start off and say I'd recommend it for anyone who's looking for a smaller excavator or a zero-tail excavator. It is a very nice model, but we'll get into the review to kind of show a little bit more of we'll show it off a little bit better. So first off, we'll start with the box. I'll move this out of the way. And here we have the normal Komatsu style box. You've got the First Gear logo over here, 1/50th scale, caution, 14 and up. We'll flip, and of course inside there are two plastic formers, like I think it's a clamshell type of thing. One slides up on top of the other, and it holds the model in really well. I had no shipping damage to my model because it was held in real nice, but the bucket is held in really tightly, so you might want to be a little careful when trying to take that out. And up here you've got a picture of the real PC138-11. Flip it around to the back here, and we've got all kinds of dimensions here. We've got measurements in both foot and inch and millimeter. And then of course you've got a bunch of pictures of our drawings of the PC138-11. And of course on the end, both ends are the same. It says PC138-11. It says excavator in a couple languages, and then manufactured by First Gear. We'll move the box out of the way and we'll get started with the model. Okay, so now we're going to get started on the functionality of the model. We'll start with the undercarriage, and specifically we'll start with the blade. Now, some people probably don't like the blade, but I don't mind it. It's a nice addition to the small model. Of course, this is it all the way down. It does not go below the level of the tracks, but it does sit down flush with the surface it's sitting on. Of course, you can see it raises pretty good height, so we'll flip it around so you can see it from the side. And it does have functioning cylinders in there, as well as guards on top, or dirt guards on top of the cylinders. Moving on, we'll now talk about the functionality of the undercarriage itself. It does not have a spring tensioned idler. A lot of models do, but this one does not, and it doesn't really need it, in my opinion. The tracks roll very smoothly. They don't feel like they're going to break. They feel strong. I wouldn't really play with it in a bunch of dirt or anything. Then it might want to break. But for the way they are, they won't roll on a terribly smooth surface, but a semi-smooth surface should be perfectly fine. They, of course, will pick it up and I'll show you. They roll real smooth to the, you can just move it with your hand, I really do like them. And of course, there are no working bottom rollers. Average for an excavator model. They won't have anything down there, much less a working roller. But up here you do have two functioning carrier rollers, which I was vastly surprised by. I did not expect that, to be honest. And you can kind of see them up there. There's two working carrier rollers right there. And that's pretty much the functionality of the undercarriage. But so, of course, like every excavator model, the machine rotates 360 degrees, rotates all the way. It's somewhat stiff, but it will hold to any pose. If you have it on an incline or something, it's not going to go spinning around like some excavator models would. So yeah. Now we'll go ahead and show the functionality of the boom. We'll go ahead and raise the boom. That's as high as the boom goes. And it does go back a little further than the average excavator, and it is a zero-turn machine, so they normally do that. The stick folds in. It's not the best. It could come in a little further, but I'm not going to complain. And of course, you curl in your bucket. That's maximum curl, which is pretty good curl for the bucket, to be honest with you. It's really almost perfect curl in and curl out. I'm a big fan of both the curl in and curl out of the bucket, and I'm definitely a big fan of the curl out of the stick, which you can see here. We'll move it back a little further. It reaches really high, so if you want to use it on like a demolition, you want to add a shear or a hammer or something, then it can reach nice and high for demolition compared to the size of the machine it is. And you can stretch it out nice and long if you wanted to stretch it out. And of course, you can curl it up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and twist the undercarriage around so we can show the blade limits the amount you can curl the boom in. So I will go ahead and curl the undercarriage around. This is the model fully curled. It could curl in more, and of course you can notice one of the issues with my model is that hydraulic line is loose, and I didn't want to glue it before I did the review because I wanted to be able to show that was a flaw on my model. There's only 2 flaws, and neither of them I think are really shipping related. One is more or less engineering of the model, and of course the hydraulic line was a manufacturing issue, but I don't really have that a problem. I'll just put a little bit of super glue on it or something, and then it will be fine. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started with the detail, and we'll start from the bucket end and work forward. We'll look at the back of the bucket. There is a distinctive lack of any wear plating on the back of the bucket, and it's only got 4 teeth. The 4 teeth are a nice shape, but I do wish they would have put a more heavy-duty bucket on this model. Of course, here you can see that there are 4 bolt hole details on the side cutters there, and you've got some wear plating and stuff on the side of the bucket. And if you don't like this bucket, I'm sure many people probably have custom attachments available for it. If some available already may fit it, I'll put the line back in a minute. And of course, on the detail, we keep going. There's hydraulic lines that go from the cylinders all along the boom. There are no auxiliary lines. I kind of would have liked that. I also do not so happy to see that there is no hook on the bucket or the linkage for a chain or something. This is a utility machine. You'll often see it lifting pipe. So that was kind of disappointing to have a lack of that, but it's alright. There's not too much detail on the boom, but it's pretty basic, but it works. The hydraulic lines are really nice. They are cast rubber, I believe, that are attached to the boom, and some people may not like them. I like them, but they work well, I think, with the model. There's lots of detail. I'll show that off in a minute. We'll go ahead and move up to the cab here. As we go down the boom, we'll just get to the cab. We've got the Komatsu decal along the side of the cab. You can see multiple cast-in details like the vents, the sliding track, the door handle, some little compartments down here with little latches on them. You can see a little bit of the detail inside the cab, but we'll get into that more in a minute. One thing I'll mention as we go around the side of the cab here, this handrail is all the handrails are a little out of scale, and they're all plastic, but they're a thick plastic and they don't bend easily. And of course here you can see with this mirror and this mirror here, they are painted silver, but they do not have a reflective surface. That really does not bother me. Personally, it may bother you, I'm not sure. You can see a little bit of other random detail on the side of the cab. You can see the vents inside of the machine are cast in, they're indented into the casting and painted black, and then you have the latch here, and then you go around to the back, you can see the blade, and on the blade there is a notable lack of any bolt head detailing, but there is a cutting edge detail. And of course you can see the extra counterweight, which is an option on the Komatsu PC138s, and I think some of the larger Zero-Tails may have it also. You can see the bolt details for where they attach it. Nice crisp Komatsu decal and danger keep off swing area decal. I'll try to bring it a little closer so you can see it. There you guys go. And you can see the backup camera up top. That's another detail, and of course you can see the reflectors here in the back of the body. Now we'll rotate the machine again, and as we rotate it, you'll notice the exhaust stack and engine cover for the -11 series. It's a little bit different than some of the other ones. And of course, more vents on the side and the door latch. You've got more nice crisp Komatsu and PC138 decals on this side. You've got a door latch detail for this little panel here. And of course you can see probably fuel or DEF fill up because this is a Tier 4 final machine. And then you've got the handrails and the mirror, of course, on the side. We'll go ahead and rotate it to the front. We've already looked at the back of the bucket, but go ahead and raise this up here and let it focus. And you can see the hydraulic lines are rubber lines going to the cylinders where they have cast-in lines on the cylinder as well, on both sides. And there's a little step right there. It does have a little bit of a anti-slip texture cast into that step. And on the side of the cab here, rotate it so you might be able to see it there. There's a cast-in windshield wiper, a couple little bolt details, and you've got some plastic lights on the top of the cab there that are painted silver. And there's also, turn it this way, you can see there's also a light on the side of the boom there. And that's about it for the front. You can see the mirror again, and of course you got the undercarriage, which will actually, I forgot to show. Let me go ahead and flip this around, and I'll flip it over for you guys. You can kind of tell there's actually a little bit of detail here on the bottom of the base plate of the undercarriage, and there's 3 tie-down points that are actually modeled and drilled through, so you could simulate tying it down. And then you've got various details on the underside of the car body, but it's hard to tell because it's a zero-till machine. If you really wanted to see it, you could disassemble the model, but yeah. I'm going to curl the boom back in a little bit so it's not sticking out quite as far, and I'll fix that hydraulic line in a minute or two. Of course, we went around the machine with the detail, and we'll go ahead and go up top. Now, of course, you can get a better view of the hydraulic lines, which go along the back of the boom. They go off the side, and I'll point that out here in just a second. There's another handrail on the back of the cab. There's a bunch of this printed anti-slip texturing on top of the machine. You can see the exhaust stack and some various bolt details and stuff. There's also a latch right here for the top of the engine compartment. If we go over this side, you can see where the hydraulic lines do come off the side and go with another line straight into the body of the machine. Instead of like a normal excavator that goes off the back of the boom, it goes off of the side. Alright, sorry about that, guys. My camera quit recording on me there for a second. So we'll go back up to the top for the last little bit of up top detail, and that is on the cab. You can see various different textures and patterns and some little bolt head details, and you can see the handrail off the back of the cab, and a sunroof on top, and of course you've got the lights. And the last little bit of detail we have is inside the cab. Now, the one thing I'd like to say about the cab is it's all plastic. It is completely plastic. It is painted plastic, so the color match is great, but that does have one little issue with that, and I'll mention that in a second. But for cab detail, I'm not sure if you guys can really see much. There's some nice joysticks. The track levers are real nice. Let it try to focus in there for you guys. You've got nice seat in there, and you've got some nice anti-slip texture on the floor. The cab, I'm not sure if you guys can see that real easily or not, but it is in there, and it is nice. And the only 2 issues I have on this model are this hydraulic line over here, which I can just re-glue. It's easy, no big deal. But over here, it's not a terrible issue, but when you raise the boom, you might be able to see it right there, and a little bit right down here. There is yellow paint coming through the gray paint. That's because the cylinder rubs up against the cab. That was probably a problem with either the model, how it was engineered or assembled. I know at least one other person has this issue, but that's not too big in my opinion, and I still give this model an 8 out of 10. For the price point of about, I paid $63, but they go up to about $73. I think it's definitely worth it. I'd highly recommend this model to anyone looking for a model of this size, or even just a zero-tail excavator. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if this video has helped you, or if you have a different opinion, let me know down below in the comments, or hit the like button if you've enjoyed the video. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helps you out. See you guys next time. Bye.